Want to become a better runner? Then here's Coach Kev's 4 tips on how to get you there. Tip number 1, buy shoes with things like React foam or Power Run cushioning or Wave technology. The more ridiculous it sounds, the better it'll make you at running. Tip number 2, fluorescent colored clothing. Not only does it look good, but fluorescent colors absorb high frequency light. The higher frequency you are, the higher your turnover. And that's science. Tip number 3, short shorts. There's no reason to have shorts with more than a 2-inch inseam. More than that is just a misuse of fabric. The shorter your shorts, the less drag, the more aerodynamic, and the faster you go. Alright gang, now for an actual tip to help you with your running. Today's focus is going to be on increasing our cadence. 2 reasons. 1, efficiency. 2, injury prevention. Now, how does this help? So, increasing our cadence forces us to take smaller strides. Smaller strides helps us reduce the risk of us overstriding or landing too far in front of us, which leads to a very large braking effect. So reducing this braking effect helps us with our efficiency of energy use. And reducing that stride length helps us decrease the force of impact that that occurs every single stride, and therefore helps us reduce that risk of injury. So now that we know why, Kevin, what do we aim for? So if we've researched cadence before, typically you'll see that magic number of 180 beats a minute. But we're all individuals. We all shouldn't race towards one number. That's just not very realistic, that everybody falls in that same 180 beats a minute. Typically we see a range between 160 and 180. Some people fall above that 180, and that's fine if that works for them. However, we see people in that 150 range. Those are the people that tend to overstride and therefore are less efficient and more at risk of injury. So now that we know why and the rationale around it, how do we adopt this into our training and how do we try and increase our cadence? Well, I'm going to go and grab a metronome and I'll be right back and we'll go over a little technique. Okay, I'm back with my free metronome app, which you can get on your app store. But before we go and look into improving our cadence, we need to know what your base cadence is. So to do so, I want you to go for a kilometer run. Near the end of that run, for 10 seconds, I want you to count the numbers of steps you take. Multiply that number by 6, and then you'll get your base cadence. Okay, so now that you have your base cadence, let's look into improving it or increasing it. Increasing our cadence is just like any other training. We want to do it with small increments. So this first week of improving my cadence, I'm going to set my cadence at 5, or an increase of 5. So my base cadence is 170. I'm now going to set it to 175. For my runs this next week, I'm going to plug that number in, put my headphones in, and listen to the metronome app. So I'll start my run, just running on the spot, getting used to that new cadence, and then I'll continue the first 10 minutes of my run or that warm-up part of my run at that new cadence before I turn it off, turn the metronome off, and start listening to my music again. I'll complete the run trying to maintain that new cadence. And I'll do that all week until the end of the week where I'll retest my cadence. So I'll do that same kilometer run, see if I've improved my cadence. Once I've improved my cadence or increased my cadence, you have to kind of reflect on how that made you feel. If you felt like it helped with your aches and pains, then great. Let's maybe experiment with it a little bit quicker. If you found that by the end of the week, you actually felt a little sore or things started kind of acting up, then maybe you have to revisit cadence and take a step back. So now that we know a little bit more about cadence, I want you to go out, give it a try, and comment below on how you felt.